Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Patter Crafts and I'm so excited to be a part of this hop today celebrating Catherine Kelly's 1,000 subscribers to YouTube. She did hit that number a little while ago, so we are excited to share in this with her. She's definitely over that number now. I'd like to give a special shout out to Sharon Liska, who has organized this hop with members of Team Tiny. Team Tiny is a group of small YouTube creators that we mostly do paper crafting that are looking to build our channels. So my card today I cased from Catherine Kelly. It's a card she made, I believe, about 7 months ago, and the video title is Tree of Thanks Book Print Thank You. And I will leave a link to her description in the description box below. So Catherine used a book print for her panel. Now I searched high and low and I could not find a book print that I could use for this card. And I decided if I couldn't find one then I had to make one. So what you see here is a collection of words of positivity. That's what I'm calling it. Because all these words and phrases mean something really positive to me, and I think some of these words also mean very positive things for other people. And I'll let you know in just a few minutes what those words are, but right now I just want to tell you what I'm doing. So in Catherine Kelly's video, she used some gesso on her book print because it needed some stability. I don't have gesso, but I'm also not using a book print. I am using, just something I created to kind of mimic a book print. So I didn't use that. She also used some really pretty alcohol inks, or not alcohol, I'm sorry, watercolors on hers. I didn't have watercolor, but I do have distress ink. So if you put those on acrylic block and use your water brush, voila, you have something similar to watercolors. So the colors I'm using today are Peacock Feather, Dusty Concord, and Worn Lipstick. And the crazy thing is I printed this out on my printer and then I didn't even think about testing if the water would make the ink smear before I laid down that first stroke. When I was laying down that, going down to the paper, and I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't smear. It didn't. I am very thankful for that, and this actually works out just fine. I didn't think to use watercolor paper for 2 reasons. One, I wasn't sure if it would go through my printer. 2, I wasn't sure if it would print well because my watercolor paper is a little textured, so I didn't know how it would print out. I'll try it at another time. I honestly didn't even really think about it when I did this until after the fact, but I was like, you know what? You already started it. Let's keep going. So some of the words or phrases on my paper here are things like faith, understanding, beauty, Mother Nature, mother, optimistic, hopeful, sister, God loves you, be a little weird, community, listen, brother, butterfly. Definitely have all my family members. Magical, let's see. I can't think of any that I didn't already say. I'm sure there are ones on here I did not say, but I don't want to keep repeating myself. So this is my words of positivity paper. Went ahead and used my heat gun to dry that a little bit because it's, like I said, it's not watercolor paper, so it definitely needed help drying. So here I'm using the Magical Sentiment. This is a die from Pink and Maine. So I die cut that out with just some regular white cardstock. I'm using the 3 distress inks I used on my panel on this piece. Once I just kind of pressed the ink pad onto the word. I did not, this was not watercolor paper, and I wanted to use as little water as possible on it. So I just used the ink pad directly onto the sentiment piece. Now I'm using a water brush to pick up some of the extra ink on the mat to fill in the white gaps on that sentiment that I missed with the ink pad. Now I'm going to go ahead and put that aside, and we're going to trim down this paper. Now, if I would have thought about this sooner when I was watercoloring, I would have done smaller sections, because I probably could have gotten 2 panels out of this instead of 1, but I wanted to make sure I had the pink, the purple, and the blue. So I feel like I wasted a whole lot of this, but it won't be that hard to reproduce. So, and next time I will just know to make those sections smaller so I can get 2 sets out of there. So I went ahead and am bringing that over to my Cuttlebug. I'm going to use the largest stitched rectangle die that I have. The rectangle dies I have are only stitched, so you'll see I use that one all of the time. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the sentiment here onto the magical mat. Both these pieces come in that die set. So we're just going to add some liquid glue, pop that on, and then I'm going to put that aside, because even though I try not to use too much water on it, it is still kind of wet. So we're going to go ahead and put that off to the side. Now we're going to bring in some of the stamps. Now the stamps I'm using are the Wild Roses by Waffle Flower, Let Good Things Grow from Pink Fresh Studio, and Autumn Greetings from Simon Says Stamp. I am using my Misty because while my paper is not wet, it's not 100% dry either, first of all, and then second, it's pretty warped, so I know I'm going to have to stamp over this several times. So I'm grabbing some flowers from that Waffle Flower set and putting them on the left of my card. And I have to go over this several times. As you can see, that middle flower just really did not want to stamp. And this is where I was feeling like I'm gonna have to put this magical over that middle flower, because you can even see in the video it just did not want to stamp well. I don't know if that section was wetter than the other sections. I don't know. I don't usually have this kind of issue with my Misty. But then I decided I'm gonna have to just, you know, change course and move that magical part up towards that middle flower, since it didn't stamp very well, and kind of cover it up a little bit. Now I'm just using these other stamp sets for some little bits. On the Let Good Things Grow, there is a solid like leaf piece, and I'm gonna go ahead and just add that to a couple of different places. Now that didn't stamp the best, and I debated if I wanted to try to stamp over it, and I decided that wasn't a good idea. My paper is not 100% flat, and frankly, I'm just not that good at that. So I am going to come up again with an alternative. I will bring in a multi-liner Copic pen in black, and then I'm going to go over some of these areas to darken them up. So from the Simon Says Stamp set, I'm using the hearts. I thought the shape of those hearts was cute. And I'm also bringing in this like dot and just adding to some dots to kind of fill in along the side of those flowers. Now, from the magical stamp set, there is the words "you are." So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out on to some white cardstock, and then I'm going to mat that on some black cardstock so that it kind of matches the magical. Now, even though the magical part isn't white, I still want to have the mat to be the same to match. Bringing in my trimmer because I can't be trusted to cut a straight line, at least not at this point. There are certain instances where I can sort of cut a straight line. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the little mat and then bring my trimmer back in and try to cut that down again. And when I do this, I don't quite cut close enough, so this is where I can do okay cutting a straight line because it's not that long. It's pretty short. All right. So our card is coming together. The elements are all coming together, but this piece of paper is very warped and it definitely needs to be on a lot of foam tape. This is where fun foam would come in really handy. I should really think about ordering some more fun foam. I'd had that for a little while and it was really great to use for like when you wanted to pop up an entire panel. So I really think that's something that I should look at investing in again. So we're just going ahead and cutting a ton of it. I didn't quite measure the space between very well, so I need like this little half piece. We will add it there, and I am not going to edit this boo-boo out. You guys are going to see this. I'm sure I'm not the only person to do it, but I was pretty certain I put this on straight. And it was not. I lifted it. It was straight from the angle I was looking at, but it was not straight. And it wasn't even like a little off where I thought I could get away with it. So I tore it off my card panel, bringing in another one. I'm going to add some tape runner to the areas that have the cardstock from the other card panel, and now I'm standing up and looking at it straight above, and there we go. So much better. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my sentiment, and this says "you are," and then we're going to bring in magical. I still want to put it down below, but I can't get over that middle flower that didn't stamp all that well. So it's going in the middle of this card, even though that's not exactly where I wanted it to be. So we'll go ahead and we're going to add that to the card. And I'm just using regular tape runner for that. The panel behind it had so much water on it, I did not want to add liquid glue. So this is where I'm bringing in my Copic multi-liner and adding in some darkness to some of those solid images that didn't stamp so well. So this hop is a hashtag themed hop. So if you'd like to see other people's videos, please use the hashtag. The hashtag for the hop is Team Tiny Catherine Kelly 1K. I'll leave that in the description below. It's also in the title, so you can go ahead and click on that and see what all the other creators have made in celebration of Catherine Kelly. Also, if you notice the thumbnail, there are prizes associated with this hop, so please make sure you hop along, leave comments if you'd like a chance to win one of those lovely prizes. We have some great companies that have donated prizes for this hop. So to finish my card, I am going to add the This is the Spectrum Noir glitter brush, because every word magical definitely needs to have glitter. So thank you so very much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification bell if you'd like to know the next time I upload.